Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands or stipulations of one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
Overlord. I'm sorry. Did you say conceptualize?
I did. I was trying to breeze past it.
No, I just like the idea of conceptualizing something.
Conceptualize. It's
where you create something with chemicals.
It's a mad scientist biochemist. And he constantly tries to work chemistry into everything he does. So he's like, I'm about to conceptualize a new formula.
Like Batman, how he just puts bat on everything?
Yeah. It's like, why can the hero do it and I can't? So Batman will be taken down by my chemistry.
I am the chemmaster.
Chemmaster. Why don't you just be chemistry master? No, that's stupid. I am chemmaster. No, I am not. I actually, I'm TC. We are professional screenwriters and massive cinephiles, and we talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And we'd like to believe that we could meet any demand throw at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. As I said, I'm TC, and joining me, as always, is Jim.
Chemmaster.
Chemmaster Burzelic. Chemmaster. Batman has a villain named Orca, who's just an orca.
I didn't know about that villain.
Oh yeah, Orca. There's Catman. Like Batman's got some pretty phenomenally silly villains.
I am Orca. Like, is it like King Shark where it's like an orca with legs?
Yeah. I only have seen Orca pop up as a joke. Like, I don't know if Orca's ever been an actual threat in the Batman comics. But yeah, it's just Googling some art real quick. Very much designed like, he's fighting Nightwing. Yeah, it's King Shark, but an orca.
Okay.
So someone has taken what was initially a very silly villain and made him cool. Orca. And based on we'll call it cup size, Orca is a female villain. A very aggressive killer whale.
All right.
But she will be no match for the Chemmaster. Chemmaster. Does he throw vials of like formulas at people? Like what is Chemmaster's like MO? What does he do? We're talking like a Mr. Freeze. Like the Riddler initially started off as just a knockoff of the Joker. So is the Chemmaster or just Chemmaster just a Mr. Freeze derivative?
How dare you?
Chemmaster laughs in the face of Mr. Victor Freeze. I am a doctor.
I imagine, yeah. His story probably starts where he just used acid. He probably just threw acid at everything.
Oh, man.
With the power of chemical juices.
You cannot go up against my chemical warfare, Batman.
Mm-hmm. And then it turns out, like, yeah, you can. Like, other people know chemistry, too. And he's like, oh, no.
You know, okay, so in an alternate universe where Chemmaster existed in the 30s and 40s as some silly villain, by the time the animated series came along, they would probably make Chemmaster as cool as they made Clock King.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeze and Clayface. Like, that animated series, many people know this. I'm not telling anything that people don't know, but like that show made some of the all-time greatest versions of those very silly characters. So Chemmaster would have become very cool, and he wouldn't have been a Mr. Freeze equivalent. Let's see if Chemmaster is an actual character, and we are not as clever as we think. Oh, well, no, it's a place.
Oh, well then.
But Chemmaster, the Batman villain, you're welcome, Warner Brothers. You know, James Gunn has got plans.
He does. Plans within plans.
Plans within plans, restructuring the hierarchy. The Rock did not lie to us. He told us the hierarchy was about to change.
He did.
He just led us to believe it would be him involved and not the nerd who made Tromeo and Juliet. So, Mr. Gunn, if you need some new villains, let us tell you about Chemmaster.
Oh, God.
Jim Chemmaster Burzelic.
Yep.
is he all science based, or did he exist with enough decades that they turned his science into super
into power?
Super science? Yeah.
That's a good question.
Like, is he shooting chemicals from his fingertips now, or did he did he die? And like Chem Master 2 is a ghost who's got angry acid powers.
Oh, actually, yes. That is the first Chem Master was a master of chemicals, and he died. Right, like he was just a chemist. He was a mad chemist.
Batman tried to save him, and he died under his own because of his own master plan that failed.
Yeah.
I was gonna blow up Gotham with a tidal wave of chemistry.
And then
Chem
he
Master.
did show up again. A writer brought him back as a ghost who was able to left behind all these chemical trails and would like burn through stuff and stuff like that.
Like burn through walls. I've seen this before, Robin, but not for a very long time. It's not possible.
Yeah, exactly like that. And then later on, that character went away for a while, and a third version was introduced, a totally different person.
Chem Master 3.
Chem Master 3, and he actually did have powers. He was an elementalist.
Oh.
And it was with the powers of the elements broken down into their myriad components. He was the Chem Master.
Wow.
And so, he would use the. He had the periodic fortress of elements.
I love a good gimmicky supervillain. I'm reminded. We'll wrap this up as we move on with the episode. We're reminded of Liquidator from Darkwing Duck.
Yeah,
who all his everything he said was like old 1950s commercial ads. Like,
well, because wasn't that his origin? Like, wasn't he like a salesman or something, or like a marketing guy?
Hydro powers.
Yeah.
Freaking Liquidator. Chem Master. I can't wait to see the gritty version of Chem Master when he's rebooted for the umpteenth time, and he's like,
just listen to Art of the Batman and Robin episode.
Yes, there we go.
it would be real similar to what we do with Mr. Freeze.
No, I know. I think Chem Master developed the newest version canonically of the Venom, the Bane Venom.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, like he's tied into Bane's Venom.
Oh shit!
And like the Venom is no longer poisonous. Like he figured out, like he used his chemistry.
Yeah, well, yes, that's what it would be.
You look disheartened. Go ahead.
No, well, it's like when you hear a really good pun. Like it's really good, but you can't help but groan and scowl.
Story of my life.
I think if I'm ever given the chance to write anything Batman, and if I go anywhere near Bane, I'm going to introduce Chem Master, and he is Bane's number one cook. Yeah. Who then kind of goes off on his own.
Gets his own. Yeah. All right. Chem Master, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Jim, our amazing.
Stupid name, though.
It's excellent. It is. Is it any worse than Clock King?
Orca.
Jorker?
Oh, a mashup of Joker and Orca. Jorka.
There was the King. It was either King Joker. There was a DC crossover event where like all the villains, like everybody was given Joker formula. So like, anyway, Jim, our amazing listeners have given us demands from studios literally all over the world. And you, listening now, you can send us any demand you'd like, and we will have to meet them right here on the spots. And when we reach the end of the season, or end of the episode, if we've done our jobs, we will have pitched a full script and story meeting or even exceeding those demands. And at the end of the season, your demand could have helped us craft the script that will be greenlit by the fans for the finale. Thank you to everyone who keeps submitting, so keep them coming, please. Today's demand, Jim. We are prepared for this.
Lay it on me.
All right. This is actually coming from two people. The demands are similar, at least my understanding. We'll see. So first comes from Nancy Flores from Pro Bonafide Studios. Okay. I'd like to see what you two would do with the Scooby-Doo universe. This series has been around for a long time. It started out with them just unmasking real people, but then they started fighting actual monsters. And seeing as the most recent animated film wasn't even a spooky mystery rather than a Hanna-Barbera-verse movie, what's the most recent movie?
I don't know.
Scoob. The animated one was, because the poster had like a superhero on it, like a Hawkman character.
Oh.
I did not know that was a Hanna-Barbera-verse movie, but The door is wide open for literally anything you want to do with Mystery Inc. Hop in the Mystery Machine, boys, and show me what you got. All right, Nancy, thank you. And also, this comes from Sammy from Kibble and Yeats Studio. Hello, I'd like to make a demand for a new live-action Scooby-Doo. Okay, that's that live-action specifically.
Okay.
Nancy did not specify, so live-action specifically. I think it would be good fun to see a young adult gritty reboot of the franchise, but I worry that in the wrong hands, it would just turn out like any other CW show, like Riverdale. Bonus points, but not necessary if you figure out a way to sprinkle in the other Hanna-Barbera properties. Okay, so the demand, both from Nancy and Sammy, is to craft a new Scooby-Doo.
Uh-huh.
Scooby-Doo has been around for 50 plus years.
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's been a lot of iterations of this. In preparation for this, we watched the
live
Matthew
action
Lillard,
Scooby-Doo.
Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini, Scooby-Doo, the first one. And that commentary track is available on Patreon if you're interested. But Scooby-Doo, Jim, do you have any love for these characters? Like, do you have a history with them?
I mean, I watched them Saturday morning cartoons kind of thing. So I am familiar with Scooby-Doo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any particular like there was nothing about them that became like a cornerstone
of your existence,
of my childhood or fandom or anything.
Sure. Pup named Scooby-Doo, I remember watching when I was little as a Saturday morning cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was probably the first Scooby-Doo I actually liked and watched. Other than that, I was like, I get it.
I felt the same way. And the reason was because I was aware that the show was starting, whereas I knew I was watching reruns. I was watching old reruns.
Right.
Of cartoons of before my time.
Before you were even born.
Before my 8-year-old self. And which apparently wasn't entirely true. I just wasn't cognizant of what I was watching. Because as we discussed in the commentary, 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo actually did come out in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I was just like still figuring out how to form memories.
I can remember when the Cartoon Network, I believe, or it was a straight-to-DVD movie, where Mystery Inc. went up against actual monsters.
That wasn't until the late 90s.
Yeah, it was late 90s, and the show, obviously, it's an institution. It's been around for 50 plus years, and I remember that being, I don't know, that would have been before the live-action movie.
Yes.
And the live-action movie maintained the it had supernatural elements to it. But whatever the case, I liked the idea that Mystery Inc. was going up against actual ghosts and not just another old man who was wearing a mask and trying to control a theme park.
Yeah. I agree. But the reason I liked A Pup Named Scooby-Doo is because as a kid, I was like, this is my Scooby-Doo.
Because I'm a kid, too.
Yeah. Well, because it was like, because I'm here from episode 1, so I know everything that's happening. And it's an animation style that I, as an 8-year-old, like.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no particular tie to Scooby-Doo. I have friends that have shrines to Scooby-Doo.
Okay.
But I myself don't have particular ties.
Scooby. Dude, that's the cult.
That's actually really good. I really like that idea. I want to put that into something.
The cult of Scooby-Doo. Well, yeah, it's I've like Mickey
For a
Mouse.
canine will come forward, and the canine will speak unto the language of man.
Scooby. But not in a voice. It's Ken Master again. But but not in a voice that we all can easily. He's got a speech impediment. That's what we're saying. Folks. Yeah. Like Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny, Scooby-Doo just has always been.
Mm-hmm.
It's
an institution.
Yeah. And so to think of a new way to do it, so we've got the edict here to do live action. Now there's the two Freddie Prinze, Sarah Michelle Gellar, so on and so forth. There's two of those. There was a couple straight to DVD. I know there's a new animated series. They did. There's been multiple versions even since then, because this is a property that just keeps going.
With as crazy as I haven't watched it, but with as crazy as Riverdale got, apparently that live action TV show, maybe Scooby Doo should have been folded into it, just to have some weird teenage CW live action version, just to check the box and get it out of the way.
Well, right. Do you think people would make an argument for, well, we've already had a live action TV Scooby Doo? It was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, because like they were called the Scooby Gang, and
I mean, there would be people who would write it off that way. Like we've seen this, But I also wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want. Well, I'm saying that, but I have a pitch in mind.
Okay.
That might end up going down this route, but I wouldn't want to just make it like a Buffy or Supernatural derivative.
And I wouldn't want that either. And honestly, as we now that we've seen the demand, like knowing it was Scooby Doo, obviously we came into this pitch meeting with some ideas. I don't even really have any that I've prepared because I love the concept of going off fresh, but knowing at least that this was going to be Scooby Doo, I had two things in mind. I want to hear your pitch, but I don't want it to be a Supernatural or Buffy knockoff, but I also don't want to be Riverdale. Like I don't want this to just be sexy teens with sexy problems. Like
sure.
Let's go. Like let's do something with this. And if this is an idea that's so off base that hardcore Scooby Doo fans was like, no, then I say all the better. Like like don't be worried about upsetting the fans here because Scooby Doo has existed for so long. It's time. Let's try something crazy here. So where do you want to go with it? I'll save my second thought. By the way,
it's just one idea, and the letting it be live action kind of dovetails into it.
Great,
and maybe this will give you some ideas. And it's everything it's related to is so up in the air right now. We could make it happen.
Okay,
I would make it a part of the DCEU.
Oh my! What?
It's a Warner Brothers property now.
Yeah, it is a Warner Brothers property. Are you? Oh boy, if anyone would,
they had a crossover with Batman and Robin.
This is true. The Adam West.
So they already existed in the same universe.
Oh my God! So would Mystery Inc. Hold on a minute. You've knocked me over. Mystery Inc. existing in some DCEU where Superman and John Constantine exist, Batman and Deadman exists. Like,
yep.
So, I'm flabbergasted right now. But the idea that there would be this on the ground, 4 normal people driving around like the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, took characters no one gave a crap about and inserted them into an existing DCEU, and they could do anything with them because they weren't the top tier Justice League. They were these bottom tier nobodies, and now insert them in. You're going even below those guys, and it's street level teen investigators just in the same universe. Whatever story we decide to do doesn't actually have to be connected. It was just a zany idea. That is zany.
Doing a new live action Scooby Doo, and because they had this crossover with Batman and Robin so long ago, just what if it was actually connected?
Well, do you want to? I'm not writing this idea off per se. Are we going to come up with a movie, or do you think we're coming up with a series here?
I was initially thinking movie. We can do series. If it's a series, connect it to the Berlantiverse.
Okay.
Which is a lot easier, actually.
You are 1,000% correct that it could easily tie into the Berlantiverse, the Arrowverse, for those who aren't familiar. Unfortunately, that's coming to an end soon.
Yeah.
The last of the shows is Flash, and that's ending soon. Let's consider this a film. Now, James Gunn, when he initially wrote his script for what would become the Scooby-Doo movie, he wrote an R-rated Scooby-Doo.
Sure.
And then Warner Brothers had him tone it down, but kept his premise. Rewatching the movie, it's fun. And
it is.
I wonder what about it would be rated R other than language and some blood. But where do you want to go with this? Do you think that we should...
Probably also sex and drug references.
Okay.
Just talking about what would have made it R-rated, that's what was likely toned down.
Okay. If
but one of our demands was to make it grittier,
mm-hmm.
And that basically means don't necessarily tone it down. I don't know if I'd want to go for an R rating.
Okay, I got it.
I think making a PG-13 DC movie, I think.
I have let's not connect it to the
standard.
DCU quite yet.
Okay. It was an out there idea.
Yeah, I like it.
It's not something that we have to do.
I would love to know what James Gunn is going to do in the future. You know, people listening to this in the future, you can let us know. We already know. You don't have to tell us. I want to make a pitch here. Okay. So we have our 4 characters. This is just coming to me now, thinking about a gritty version of this and what to do with it. Let's start with Shaggy. Let's find a way to like ground these characters in a different reality, like in more into a reality, and let's make them new versions of like this is what I'm going for. If Shaggy is a vet, that he has like him and like Scooby was his. I'm thinking of the movie Dog that Channing Tatum was just in, where he worked with attack canines for the military, and so Shaggy is. Let's make him a soldier who has sort of repressed his training and whatnot, instead of just making him the Zoink Scoob, oh look out over here, and like basically that he can be unlocked in a way.
You want to MK Ultra?
Yes.
You want to what was the
American
Ultra? Him?
Yes, that's sort of where I'm going for, is that he's, instead of just being the buffoon that sort of stumbles his way while Fred and Daphne save the day, or Velma's brain, like let's give him actual worth here, and it's like actual skill set here, and if he's like a sleeper agent that they can activate essentially.
I don't know how many of our listeners are fans of I don't even know what the theory is called, but the Shaggy is a god theory. But
what? I've never heard this.
Never heard that Shaggy actually has like
god powers,
S-tier powers.
What?
Yeah, like
no, I've never heard this.
He's a godlike being.
Okay.
I forgot where I was going with. I feel I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up that version of Shaggy.
Just, I mean, that's an interesting.
Where he can like essentially go Super Saiyan. And, like,
I'm suggesting that he can go Jason Bourne.
Yeah, I don't care for that. I'm not going to throw it out because we got to start somewhere. If anything, I would give Fred the veteran, the soldier backstory.
Well, why not make them brothers in arms? Maybe they serve together.
So the other thing that pitching this, I think you're going too gritty.
Okay. Then I want to back up then.
Okay.
Or, unless you wanted to continue.
No.
Who's our narrator? Who's the POV character? So Riverdale, the narrator is Jughead. Okay. Jughead tells the story of Riverdale, the show. He's a reporter essentially, and he documents the Riverdale. Yeah, I've watched Riverdale a little bit.
That's fine.
So we've seen. Well, I think every one of the 4 main characters has been the central, like, leader of the team, focal point character over the 50 plus years. Daphne was the leader of the team in the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, as you educated me about. Flim Flam.
Yep.
Fred was the
Flim
initial.
Flam was never the leader.
Flim Flam was the leader. Velma has become the real fan favorite of current iterations, so she's kind of the lead now. And
well, I mean, she's always sort of been the one. Like, I would say, at least since A Pup Named Scooby Doo, she's always been the one that actually figures the things out.
She solves the mystery. She's the brains of this operation. So, with that said, who would you put into the central position here? I know it's an ensemble show. There's 4 of them, but like,
yeah. Well, okay. To that, I don't think we need a central character, but because in the 2000 movie, who was the central character?
Shaggy's essentially the heart, I think. But you're right. They all. It comes down to Daphne and Shaggy saving Fred and Velma.
Because the movie wanted to reverse the roles.
Yeah,
those were the 2 characters that usually didn't do the saving,
so they got to be saved. Well, okay, then instead of trying to think of a central point character, let's develop the 4. So, do you like the idea that Fred has military experience? That he's like a former ranger, or maybe he was just.
God, that feels like going so hard. That feels like subverting it the same way the Venture, not the same way, but like subverting it almost the way the Venture Brothers subverted it and like turned them into like wandering meth head.
No, let's not do that.
Thieves.
Okay, different question then. Do we want to take this super serious, or do we want this to be like Peacemaker, badass but funny? Like where do you think
I
this
don't
belongs?
even necessarily think badass.
Okay.
What would be an equivalent? What am I thinking of?
Because if we take it seriously, I think that pushes it towards Supernatural. Although Supernatural had a bit of cheek to it.
Sure.
If we play it too silly, then I think it just becomes parody, and I don't want that. I don't want it to be that. I think I'll use Peacemaker since I already just put it out there. I think something like that, where they're taking it seriously, but maybe the world doesn't take them seriously, but they are capable of doing what they do. No.
Oh, okay. I think what I'm hoping to find here, honestly, is the MO of the like, why are the characters doing this? Even if he was a vet, even if he was an MK Ultra sleeper agent, why are they going around solving mysteries?
Well, are they solving? I know all I've done for the past 20 minutes is ask questions and barely offer up any ideas here. But do we want them to fight actual supernatural forces, or do we want them to go up against people faking supernatural forces?
I want it somewhere in between. I want all of the cake and to eat all of it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to let you have that. Why don't we treat this like an X-Files situation where they are assigned? Like, who's assigning them? Are they like in the regular Scooby-Doo universe, they just sort of wander and then eventually they are called into action by people? They're like the A-team.
That does make it harder to make like a movie, a TV show. Like I would just asking that question, not thinking about whether it's a movie or a TV show first. I would say maybe a fun premise to it is, the first thing that comes to mind is they literally read newspapers looking for weird articles. Like, oh, that's a weird thing. Let's go check it out.
So they're reading articles in newspapers, so this doesn't take place in modern day?
Well, see, I knew you were going to... That's why I hesitated before I said it. So now that I said it, we can update it. We can get rid of the newspaper.
They're reading it on their phones.
It can be online.
I didn't mean to be pedantic about it, but I would be perfectly fine setting it in the 70s or the 80s, because pulling the technology back, I think, helps stories like this. Because if they have... That's the problem with like James Bond and like the more modern technology you have, it's almost easier to do stuff. And like cell phones solve everything, and you have to come up with a very contrived reason why they don't have cell service or whatnot.
Like glowing sheets, spotlights, and rope aren't going to fool people anymore.
Yeah, it's like fake. We need something here. We need a premise. Like we need why are they doing this? Oh, so you suggested they are just...
So there's a detail of Shaggy's life that I think is an interesting one that doesn't ever come up. And that it's apparently he's at least in the original iteration or one of the iterations, Shaggy's actually the one who funds all of their stuff. I know in A Pup Named Scooby-Doo it was Daphne. She was the rich debutante.
Sure, but
apparently Shaggy is actually like an heir.
Yes,
and he's crazy rich.
So does he put this team together?
I would probably lean into that. Yeah. Like it would be like the first thing that comes to my mind, and maybe this is going too real and gritty in a different direction, is actually he is a not necessarily an heir. It wasn't necessarily his parents that did it. Maybe he started a successful cannabis business in Colorado.
Okay.
Struck it so rich that he doesn't ever have to work another day in his life, nor do his closest friends. And so he decides, hey man, let's just go check out weird things.
Let's just road trip to the weirdest places in
America, we can find
in North America.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this. That's good. That's good that it starts out as just sort of a summer of fun. We're just going to hop in the van. I got this decked out van. It is awesome. It's an RV. It's not a streamlined van. It's a full on like tour bus.
Oh.
And
I don't know if I want to change. I think there's certain iconography. There's certain elements that I think make Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
And the Mystery Machine is one of them, and I think it needs to stay the Mystery Machine.
Okay. But can it still be decked out with like Wi-Fi?
Sure.
Okay. So he wants to have a summer fun, and okay. So how does he know these three people here?
They're his friends. They're from either high school or from school, and or maybe they helped him with his breakout business.
Sure. If like Velma was part of like the business side, where she like worked in the company, like she's sort of his like CFO or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she could even be the one to suggest like
or maybe we do an origin story, right? So so it is from Shaggy's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
He gets this windfall and is all like, man, I miss the old, like, and he does a bit of reminiscing, which probably wasn't even that long ago. But he, in high school, he was on yearbook club, and that was and maybe it's a little bit sad that was his favorite time. He considers all of those people his closest friends, and the truth that we end up learning is almost none of them really know or care about him.
Oh yeah, you're that stoner kid.
And so he puts out a call to all of them, and there were like 15. Or I don't know how big yearbook committee is. It's probably not that big.
A couple dozen.
But a bunch of them. And the only people who respond are Velma, Fred, and Daphne for whatever their reasons are.
Okay, let me throw this out there.
Mm-hmm.
So he wants to throw a party. He wants to he tries to put together some high school reunion situation here, and he invites back the yearbook club and only these,
or even just, or maybe even more, like a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And only these three people respond.
Yeah. And it's, if he's like, I wish more people would have responded, and say Daphne, if we still want to make her some sort of socialite, or she's like in the know of things here, like, well, so-and-so didn't respond because he passed away. And actually, come to think of it, so-and-so also didn't respond because they also passed away. Huh. You know, a lot of people from our class have passed away. And if I'm just throwing out there, the mystery is like that there's a serial killer that's picking off everyone from their yearbook class.
Oh, God.
And so now it's like, let's track down all the surviving people from our class to see if we can figure out who is killing. I'm just going dark here. Who's killing off?
Going pretty dark.
Who's killing off the class of whatever year we set this in. Like if you want to set this in like the 80s, that makes it easier because of the lack of Facebook and technology. Or even
for whatever reason, I immediately went to there was a secret tontine.
What?
Isn't it called a tontine?
Go
Am
on.
I getting it wrong? The agreement that a group of people make, they all set aside a bunch of money and the last living person gets the money.
And that's why people are getting picked off?
Yeah.
Like, so that the entirety of the yearbook club, all 24 members of the yearbook club, threw it into an agreement.
Yeah, it is. It's called a tontine. It's illegal. It's illegal to do one of those.
That's all right. They didn't know that.
They're
dumb kids.
It doesn't have to be that. That was just when you said someone's picking them all off. And
well, what do you think about a serial killer scenario here? A ghost could come to Shaggy and be like, I've been murdered. Shaggy, solve my death. Call your friends, Mystery Machine. Ooh, be dooby 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 dooby. So then we have like a road trip Silence of the Lambs situation here.
That feels way too dark.
Okay.
That's
not enough whimsy for you?
That's yeah.
Okay, so let's lose the serial killer. Calls his friends and says like, hey, I invited the yearbook club and you're the only four who show up. So again, who are these three? What are they doing now? And why did they show up? Like, are we going to maintain the standard personalities of these characters. Velma's the brain, and Daphne's the socialite, and Fred's the meathead muscle. I don't know if meathead is fair. Like Fred was always just sort of like
honestly,
the cool
guy. Really, going back to the origin, the four of them, they were all like the same level competent. None of them, they were people. Like they weren't the caricatures
that they eventually became
until a pup named Scooby Doo, and then that kind of went forward.
Yeah, like Shaggy's always sort of been the coward of the group, and Daphne played damsel in distress until the writers of all the property versions of this were like, let's stop doing that. She is an ass-kicking, capable woman.
She's a person.
She's a reporter in the animated movies that came out of the 90s and 2000s. Like, she's Lois Lane.
Yeah, they get right. Having a character who's like, and I'm the one who gets captured is,
and then
sort of a weird role to have.
And Fred is always like alpha mailing it out.
And that wasn't until
much
I don't
later.
even know if you're, yeah, because if anything, he was always kind of the team leader. He was, let's go, gang.
Yeah. So they show up and I'm still going to suggest like ex-military for one of these three characters.
Why?
Just to have someone who can kick ass on the team.
Why?
So a character can kick ass.
No, why does it need to be justified?
I would like to have a reason why someone knows Krav Maga.
Why?
Because you can't just have someone.
I can't just know Krav Maga?
No.
Why? I couldn't have just taken classes?
Okay, fine. Someone just knows how to beat the shit out of people. You as an audience member wouldn't feel like, why can they do that? Why is Velma that capable with a shotgun? Like
I guess no. But with a shotgun, he doesn't have to take classes. He just gets the shotgun.
Let's give Velma the military background. That she's the one who's like got sniper training.
Military background. What are you planning on having happen in this?
Well, something's got to happen here. What do you want to do? Just stick these four hippies in a van and have them drive somewhere and just be like, "Oh shucks, jinkies, what's this mystery? Oh, we solved it." Like, we got to give some pathos to these characters, or it's just another Scooby Doo.
What pathos does Beau Blanc have?
Benoit Blanc?
Benoit Blanc, yeah.
He is lauded as the foremost detective in both the movies that Knives Out and in Glass Onion. He has a reputation of being he's like the greatest detective working.
Sure. He's not he's not some sort of Navy SEAL who can beat everyone's ass.
Thank God. That would be a very silly way to go about doing Knives Out. Are you suggesting that we take the Mystery Inc. and make it like a Knives Out kind of movie?
It could be. I don't think we
got to like you suggested
also for young healthy teenagers, they don't need to have you can still just punch the crap out of someone.
Okay.
You don't have to know what you're doing.
Right. Okay. I just like, okay. It has to
like,
be.
Are you wanting to have like a kung fu scene where Fred armies his way through a hall of Frankenstein?
What do you want to do? I think yes.
I don't know.
Like, having them go up against a bunch of mummies and just punching their heads off. Daphne's got a baseball bat with a nail in it, and she's just cranking on people.
Yeah, and yeah, she can have that. She doesn't need to have been on the baseball team.
Okay, it needs to be a road movie, right? Because the Mystery Machine has to be part of this story, part of the iconography.
I feel like I've sort of become the naysayer here, and I don't want to do that. Okay, I'm just going to end up cutting us off from every possible path. So
let's do this. Let's take a break here. Let's just throw it to commercial right now. Take a breather. We'll come back, and we have nothing right now. Like, we've gotten this far, and we just know what we don't want to do. So let's take a break here, and we'll come back. We need to find a direction to go in. Sound good?
Okay.
Be right back, folks. Enjoy these commercials.
Hello and welcome to Game Dev Hideout. My name is Daniel and I am excited to introduce our new 6.5 show. Joining me is my co-host Chris as we drop down the ladder and give you a look into the indie game development community. We'll introduce you to lots of cool game developers, pixel artists, musicians, and other members of the indie dev community. We hope you'll climb on up and check out some games.
Okie dokie. All right. Okay. I taking a breather. I think I got something. Did you think I heard you just mutter "oh shit" under your breath?
I think I got something.
Okay. I'd like you to go first.
Okay. So
pitch it at me, boy.
I think one of the reasons that I've been really reluctant about some of these grittier things you've been suggesting is because we're kind of ignoring the biggest thing about Scooby-Doo that kind of needs to stay in the movie in some capacity, or we're going to have to really work around why it's not. And I feel like that's what you might have been trying to do.
Yeah.
This dog talks.
Okay. That was actually my second point that I referenced earlier. Is this going to be a scenario where we have a talking dog or not?
I feel it is. I guess we could make one where Scoob doesn't talk, but I feel like that would be...
We'd lose a lot of what Scooby-Doo's. It's named after him. He is the name title character.
Yeah.
So you want us to craft something that has a talking dog.
If it's not a talking dog, like he's still going to be as involved as Lassie in a Lassie episode.
Which is why I did suggest like having Shaggy,
the Channing Tatum dog thing.
That he was a military canine unit. So that Shaggy and Scooby are involved in those action sequences where Scooby gets in there and can kick the crap out of people. He's doing jump kicks.
First of all, he's a Great Dane.
Yeah.
Not really a military type dog. Second, like having them get in there to be combat scenes. Basically, this dog just gets in there and just tears people literally apart.
You've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh God! Quentin Tarantino presents Scooby-Doo.
Oh, he would definitely do it. So get Tarantino on the phone. Make this his 10th movie. So with that thought that this is a show about a talking dog or a movie with a talking dog in it, did you want to go somewhere with that?
Sort of, yes.
Okay, good.
So another one of the things that we kind of ignored is because it wasn't made a demand, but it was, you could do this. So let's see what we could do by incorporating more of the Hanna-Barbera universe.
Oh, okay.
Open the movie, and it's a joke we make all the time. Open the movie talking about the Large Hadron Collider, and reality starts getting weird. And start with a montage of clips of things like bears running out of the woods and stealing picnic baskets, a dog flying a plane.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Right, a shark solving mysteries, or
a very effeminate panther.
Yeah, things like that. Like
that's it. Stage left even.
Incorporate some of these, but then also mix in a bunch of other things like the dead are walking here and ghosts are everyone in this town has been turned into a ghost, or things like that.
So reality is full on cracked open like an egg.
Yes.
And just the most bizarre and insane stuff is happening.
Yes.
And
that is, I don't necessarily know who our characters are or how we necessarily meet them, but essentially they come together and it's like, hey, let's go figure out what's going on.
Okay. I like where you're going here. And what I'd like to suggest, because you referenced it and I had to look it up.
Okay.
Flim Flam will not be involved here. But do you know the premise of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo?
If I remember right, it was like a Pandora's box kind of thing. And
Shaggy, Scooby, and friends inadvertently open a box that unleashes 13 ghosts.
Like the 13 worst ghosts.
This is a warning to all living mortals that whoever opens the chest of demons will release 13 of the most terrifying ghosts upon the face of the earth. Only you can return the demons to the chest because you let them out. That's the quote from Vincent Van Gogh in the opening credits of that show that you enlightened me on its existence of. So taking the premise of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo and mashing it into the chest that is opened is cracked open by the Hadron Collider. So it's we could even make it, since Velma's the brain, that it was in it. Well, that was weird. That was a weird noise. Choking on my own spit in my excitement here. That she maybe Shaggy is the janitor of. Or no, he's the financier of, because we want to work with him being the benefactor.
So you want to work the characters into being the cause?
Yes. Then they like, so if Shaggy as a benefactor who's rich funded a collider that is in Colorado that Velma is in charge of, and through mistakes that they make, they crack open reality and unleash the 13 terrors that spread across, and now they have to elicit the help of essentially a badass bounty hunter in either Fred or Daphne, and then we need to figure out one way to get the fourth one in here so that they hit the road to cover up their error.
So you are making them full-on adults.
20-somethings. How's that?
Those, like, I know that's still young, but that's adults.
Yes. How old is Velma in Scooby-Doo? Because I always assumed they were in their 20s.
I would assume. Oh, really?
Oh my God!
They're teenagers.
They're 15. What? Yeah. She's 15?
Yeah.
In the original version, they are. Yeah, Daphne's 16. Velma's 15. Fred and Shaggy are 17.
Yeah.
Well, he's very rich at 17, and he foolishly helps a 15-year-old Velma create a Hadron Collider.
Well, okay, what about this? They're college age.
Okay.
What if we do a whole Happy Death Day thing?
Okay, yes.
Where it's an experiment on campus. It's not the Large Hadron Collider. It's a MacGuffin.
Yes. It's a
collider.
App. It's a collider. Like
sure,
they've done whatever cracks reality open. It's a doohickey.
Yeah.
And those are the 4 students that witness it happening. So then this is our fault. We have to clean up our mess. Let's find these 13 things that have released.
It's a quantum untangler.
That's what they've made?
Yeah.
I love it. The multiverse is really hot right now.
And when it goes wrong, it looks like we just actually tangled it worse.
So they mess up.
Yeah.
So if it's Velma and Shaggy to kick it off, and sort of actually
from there they can all be involved.
All 4 of them.
You know what? If anything, and that's because they're all they're quite different people. It's a group project that they were forced into the same group in the class.
I like where this is going. And honestly, if it cracks open reality that 13 things that they have to capture also create oddities around the drivable area. One of those weird things that could happen is their dog can now talk. So now we have
and that's where I was going with the whole reality busting open.
Yes.
Like if we did want to bring any of the other Hanna-Barbera characters in directly, right? Like the bears I mentioned, grabbing picnic baskets, we could totally have talking bears.
But they are like full on.
But they're bears. Yeah.
I'd love to see Fred have a fist fight with someone who thinks he's Captain Caveman.
just a
really
big ball of hair.
Yeah. But also he underneath the hair, just super attractive.
So.
And Fred's, he's not that attractive.
The next place I was going to go with it, and it could be tied in, because in this way we can actually get the versions of the characters you want, because realities are colliding together. They are running into other versions of themselves.
Okay.
Variations of
variants
of Mystery Inc.
I don't know if I like that.
No?
I think I like the idea of like the insanity that they are going to have to contain, and whether or not, like, I think 13 being our number is a pretty big number for a film. But if it's, let's start with the smallest one and work our way up to the biggest one. Oh, how about this? Yeah. If it's 13 active, like, things that they are tracking that they need to contain.
Okay.
Like 13 fractures that they've created. Every time they seal one, it makes the other stronger. So
you want to the one this?
Yeah. Like if they've fractured reality in 13 places in the drivable distance of the college that they do this at, and going up against Yogi and Boo Boo, just bears who are like hyper intelligent,
Well, if it's gonna be a movie, is 13 too many?
That's why I'm saying it should start simple. That they're able to seal the first few rather quickly, and then like say the turning point in the movie is like after 5 of them, 6 of them have been handled. That they can eat now. There's like a detectable difference between the strength at which these things are. So if like the very last fracture they have to seal is Scooby himself, that we have a talking dog we need to get rid of. This is the last oddity that we need to contain and erase from existence is our talking sidekick. Not that Scooby, I guess that breaks my notion of it's getting stronger and stronger. But if the
Scooby would be the strongest one. Like, you cannot erase me, children. I don't know why he also became evil.
Well, because he's giant.
Because he's got 12 ghosts in him.
If the smallest but fracture is literally the machine, the quantum untangler has the last fracture that they need to come back to seal when they get back to it. Like, well, we'll just seal this one when we get back, and then when they get back, it's like, oh, this is way bigger than we left it. So then they're going up against a good big old blue sky beam, Jim. Jim's thinking, folks. He's got his thinking hat on.
I think silently. I'm really bad at vamping.
You eliciting Happy Death Day. Now that's what I want the tone of this movie to be.
And like, that's a good tone.
Yeah,
I think.
For those listening, if you have not seen Happy Death Day, please watch both of them, and also then listen to our Happy Death Day 3 episode from last season. But that's the fun, almost Final Destination-esque goofiness of quote unquote horror elements. Happy Death Day, I think, is the right tone to go for here.
I think. Again, I want to have all the cakes and eat them too, or eat all the cakes and have them.
Well, we've cracked open the multiverse, so you can do this.
I'm thinking, something like this. All of the cracks don't happen at the same time. I know it's 13 ghosts, and when that happens, they all get out immediately.
Sure.
What if it starts... Basically, ultimately, at the end, what I want to do is I don't want to return to status quo. Mm-hmm. The world is messed up. There are other things. I want to end the movie in a way that these 4 characters and their still talking dog basically look at each other and they say, wow, there's still a lot of other crazy stuff out in the world. Let's go check it out. Mm-hmm. And the end is them driving off.
Driving off into the moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm all for that.
And so I don't want them to solve the problem. Mm-hmm. What they can solve here, what I'm thinking is whatever initially happens, they find out it's still it's getting worse. Yeah. So the solve of this movie is stopping the quantum entangler from entangling things worse. Okay. And to do that, they do need to shut down a couple things.
Whatever these fracture points are.
Yeah.
And that having our talking bear and our caveman fighter and if we want to draw from a couple other Hanna-Barbera. The main so I like the idea that their mission at first is we need to seal these fracture points. If we seal enough of them, there more won't they'll create a way to there'll be a finite amount. Mm-hmm. More are appearing, we need to start closing these holes, and then that'll stop more from appearing. That's a great initial goal. What is the finale here? What is the big threat that they then have to face off against to have our final explosive finale?
I go back to another version of themselves.
Okay. So if they've cracked open reality, is there a bizarre or a dark universe version of them that is trying to keep these reality cracks open?
Sort of.
Okay.
I was thinking there'd be we would see 4 or 5 versions of Mystery Inc.
Oh, okay. Wow. I was thinking just one.
They actually team up with 1 or 2 of them. Maybe one of them is a traitor to but one of them is villains. One is straight up villains. I'm imagining a scene where they meet up with each other, or just a scene where we then almost maybe even get a split screen where they go, we broke all the teams believe that they're responsible because each of them have their own quantum entangler.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they all feel responsible for needing to close it.
All right.
Except for maybe the one team who's all like, no,
the Omega group.
We're going to take over the multiverse, or we're something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
The dark team.
Okay. I want to throw I want to throw a pitch out there for who our final four are then.
Okay.
If the final four of Mystery Inc. are not, they all don't start at this. If it's Fred, Daphne, Shaggy, and Velma, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the courtesy of multiple teams here, by the end, the four that are all teamed up together, working together, are from four different realities. That's that. I'm just as an option here. I'm just because what we're kind of delving into. We've evoked Happy Death Day. We're also evoking a little bit of Jumanji. That it's the four people thrust into something.
So and anytime that kind of thing happens, the place I go to is so three of them don't get to return home.
Okay,
that's sad.
Okay, let's poo-poo that idea then. But
because I think we can also have fun. Like the other versions are going to be fun
variants.
Yeah, right. Like one might be like
the
like
70s,
I think actually
the
doing,
60s version.
Sure. One might be like we could even do like a pup named Scooby Doo, where it's like literally little kids, right? Like you're all 10. I'm not. I'm 8. like how did you even create a quantum entangler? Like, well, I'm a genius. Something like or like, and then another one can be that hardcore military
group. The rated R gritty version that I was suggesting. Yeah. Okay, so let me
actually it would to sort of establish the stakes. What could happen is that there could be the hardcore gritty group, and they're all like, "You cream puffs, sit back and take it easy. We'll take care of these guys." They go and they all get
popped.
Yeah,
like grapes. Okay,
because the Dark Mystery Inc. What before they created this device and opened things up, they not only have they been investigating the supernatural and uncovering frauds where they are, but when they encounter actual supernatural, they don't just bust it. They harness the stuff for themselves.
Absorb it.
So they're literally like an evil-powered version of Mystery Inc.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're laughing. But I think,
am laughing.
Okay, let's structure this a little bit differently. And you'll know where this point of inspiration is coming. If Velma, in creating the quantum entangler, is in communication with an alternate reality across the dimensions, other Velma, and they have been working together to break open quantum reality, that Velma that has been teaming up with our Prime Velma is Dark Universe Velma. And the reason the multiverse is cracked open is to harness the power from all these other places to become basically superpowered supervillains.
Sure.
Now, obviously, I've drawn from a little bit of Fantastic Four there, but hey, why the hell not? Because then you're if every time they go to one of these locations to try to close the reality, and they run into some wacky Hanna-Barbera equivalent plus some alternate version of themselves, we could probably get away with doing that 5 or 6 times in this film. And
that's all we would need.
And maybe a montage where we see a couple others. But to contain this within a 2-hour movie, we can't have 13 versions.
No, I don't want to do 13.
Okay.
I was only thinking about 5.
Great. Okay, so 5 or 6 of these, and sometimes there's only 3 of the characters. Like Shaggy doesn't exist in this version, or Daphne is different. Daphne's the leader of this team. But basically, it comes down to sealing all these cracks so that it doesn't spread any further. And then, so they no more hemorrhaging of the quantum reality. They've sealed enough cracks. But then finding that central point that they need to get to, like the big crack, is where the Omega team, we'll call them, so the Alpha team and the Omega team, the Dark Universe team. I literally just named them and then called them something else. Yep. Jesus Christ. And then it's a face-off of 5-on-5.
Here we go.
Yep.
It does split 5 times. Our reference to, we don't have to say it early. The reason our reference to 13 Ghosts is they're going to put 13 individuals variants back in. So the dark team is all 4.
Right.
And then 2 other teams are helping them.
5, you forgot about Scooby.
5.
Yeah.
5. So it's those 5. And then because like another team is 3 of them. It's Scooby and Velma and Shaggy.
Yeah.
And then the third. So
it's just 8. Fred and Velma, and they're a sexy couple.
Or wait, no. If it's 3, that means 5, 5, and 3. We can figure out the math later. Yeah, it's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Scooby should probably be in each team.
Yeah,
Scooby is there because that is the focal point that the Dark Scoob is trying to is ultimately trying to collect.
Well, I think 5 plus our team is the 6th team. In so the 5 versions they're going to face off against,
sure.
One of them is the leader of each group.
Oh, sure,
So now we have a team led by badass military Fred.
Yep.
We have another team that's led by super brain Velma.
Mm-hmm.
We have another team. See what I mean? Like, so then now we have a way to write the 5 teams they face off against leading up to, and maybe that would make it 6 total if our dark team and our light team, and then 5 others were one of them.
No.
5? Okay.
Yeah. Evil and then the others. And if our team isn't one of the 5, it's the 6th one.
Great. Yeah. So six teams total in this movie.
Right. So one group of main characters, a bunch of others.
And we've essentially built us a format to have 6 big set pieces, plus whatever initiates this and whatever, and maybe the finale counts it. So yeah, we're building it. We're laying down the skeleton here. This is working. Yeah. This is great.
And I don't a detail. I like that each of their quantum. Maybe they're not all quantum entanglers. Like maybe one of them is a mysterious puzzle box, or like another.
It's the freaking Pandora's pinheads, like the Cinnabites box.
Yeah, but essentially each version has a different entangler. So it's a different puzzle that they have to solve at each set piece and things like that. So it's not just, this is just like ours. Solve this problem.
Punch, solved. Yeah.
So there's an actual stake at each one of them. Where
I
was like, they did this different. God, now we got to figure this out.
And we're dealing with a lot of super science here, but I think it'd be great if not the Dark Universe guys, one of the teams being like super, like if Daphne is it's Agatha Harkness, like she's a super witch, she's Wanda, like if one of the teams they're going up against is all magic,
I think that's the evil team.
Okay, good, that,
because they've been harnessing supernatural power. So Scooby-Doo has become this like eldritch being, not even a hellhound.
Yeah.
He is an eldritch being. He's the one who leads that team,
like just Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
here.
and the 4 gang members. It feels weird to call the Scooby-Doo gang members, but the 4 gang, Shaggy, Velma, Fred, and Daphne.
Yeah,
they're all powerful in their own right, but they are his harbingers, his horsemen. Scooby is the ultimate evil in the bad guys team, and they are its servants.
The only thing you're screwing us on though is the fact that we have to kill a dog.
He's an eldritch being. He's not a dog at that point.
He's still a dog. People are gonna have problems here, Jim.
He's gonna have all kinds of like
tentacles.
Yeah, he's gonna have like 80 eyes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ruh-roh.
He'll look like a dog.
Yeah,
and then he'll like
grow and mutate.
More like, this is my true form.
Don't look at him. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we got something here.
Scoob. I looked at him.
Okay. Yeah.
Rotteny rye. Right in the eye.
Right in the eye, Scoob. Right in the eye. Roll, Shaggy. Oh, no. I want to talk a little bit more about our main characters here because, like, they are just templates at this point. Like, the idea that Velma let's maintain that she's the brain, that she's the one who essentially made this mistake.
I mean, no. I mean, yes, because she
built the thing.
I really like the idea. Maybe it makes them too shallow. I like the idea of maintaining their archetypes, not necessarily exploring too deeply about their characters, because a lot of this is a very external problem movie.
Yeah.
So it's the character arc is solving the problem.
Sure.
And I don't want to put it all on Velma for like, well, you're the one who made this thing.
Well, no,
but I love the idea. I really like the idea that this is almost an origin story. And the other reason I like creating referencing a multiverse like that is so that way if you don't like our Scooby-Doo, you can be like, well, that's not the real one.
Yeah, it's from a different multiverse.
We're not erasing anyone else's favorite version.
Well, okay.
But that they're all coming together kind of for the first time. So they are to each other. They're essentially strangers,
right?
And it's through this experience that they meet that they become
Mystery Inc.
Yeah.
I like your idea that this is a class assignment, that the four of them were put together, that they screwed this up, and but having Daphne be the brains, having I don't want Shaggy to just. Having Velma be the brains, and I don't want Shaggy to just be the stoner who oops, I dropped my bong water on this thing. But Fred's the one who bumped me because he was hitting on Daphne. I don't want any of that. But we do need to do something. Where do these characters start and where do they get? I know you were talking about all these external threats, but we still do need to be okay, Velma's the brain. Shaggy is the benefactor. His family has their name on the buildings at this school.
Sure.
I think that's something there, because then he can provide them with a little bit of the money they need to. I know this is a very all takes place in a very contained amount of time over the course of 48 hours. But I don't want Fred to just be the jock who, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want Daphne to just be the socialite. I want to give them just a little more something to their characterizations that we can do something with them. I want these four characters to have arcs.
Okay, what do you want to do with them?
Well, that's where I'm. If we start with their archetypes, do we maintain that Daphne is a sorority girl? Oh, that is very unprofessional of me. That she is a sorority girl who I don't want her to just be Jack Black's character from the first Jumanji, where she's like, oh my God, this is so gross, guys. But then I don't want to turn her so far in her head that she's Buffy Summers.
But what is wrong with that archetype and that arc? The character arc of learning that maybe there is things outside of myself and my social status.
Okay.
That these people are, there are value to these people.
Mm-hmm. Her growth is, that she... Okay, so then, and what's Fred? Is he's just a jack who needs the grade, and he's letting
it's the same lesson. Well, thinking about Breakfast Club, I mean, right? They kind of follow the archetypes for that.
Sure.
Daphne's Molly Ringwald. Fred's Emilio Estevez.
Right. Shaggy
would be a combination of Ali Sheedy and
Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
But Velma's also a little bit like the two of them as well.
Velma's Anthony Michael Hall. Shaggy is
Ali
not
Sheedy.
Represented.
Like Ali Sheedy.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And
Scooby-Doo is Bender.
And Judd
Nelson.
Judd Nelson, but without the bully parts. Just the slacker parts.
It's a band of year at the Bender household. Smoke 'em up, Johnny.
Oh, actually, no, that could totally fit Shaggy.
Smoke 'em up, man.
Toke it up.
Toke it up there, Shaggy. Oh, there's no water in that cup. I heard my voice doing the Bender quote. Okay, let's leave them their archetypical versions, and then they learn to work together by the end of it, and hit the road by the end. That once they've lived this adventure together, school kind of seems moot at this point, and they're like, we got more work to do. Mm-hmm. We're friends now. Let's Mystery Inc. it. Does Scooby...
And then they all They all walk across the football field and throw their fists in the air.
Hey, Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, and then in the final confrontation of confronting the dark versions of themselves, are they also confronted with the worst qualities of themselves represented within these 4 people?
I like that.
Yeah,
because I was gonna say, like, I know you don't want Shaggy to just be a stoner slacker.
Yeah,
but actually that could be like kind of that is where he starts, and so that's his arc, as he finds out life isn't the thing that you should just throw away. And I'm imagining there's a point where like Velma is explaining, so we have created in this globe all of them. This globe touches on and simultaneously contains all of the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
And like Shaggy takes a big toke and then like blows into a thing, and because I don't know how many stoners you know, but stoners love blowing smoke into into things and like into things' faces.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah. This dog's gonna be so high.
Yeah, I got the multiverse high. And like, so that can be a part of it. Like, so that he thinks he broke the multiverse doing that. And
right.
So the lesson he learns is that he can't just skate by, and that his actions have consequences.
Okay. Velma's lesson is her hubris by even doing this in the first place.
Sure, yeah.
Daphne or Fred, one of them didn't do what they were supposed to for the project, so they think the machine broke because they didn't. So like their lesson would be like, take responsibility for your actions, kind of thing, where it's like
Shaggy.
Oh sure, okay. Well, but
do your part.
Well, I thought Shaggy was not skate by. Like don't let everybody else. Don't just kick back and let everything just unfold without engagement. Whereas I'm suggesting either Daphne or Fred, like, hey, throw the switch over there. Yeah, throw the switch. And then, oh no, it's my fault. I'm the one who didn't throw the switch. I'm just using general terms there, because then it's the lesson of like, no, like, this is my fault. I'm the one who created it. No, man, this is my fault. I got the multiverse high. No, guys, it's my fault. I didn't throw the switch.
It is all of your faults. You should have gotten it right.
Daphne or Fred. Yeah, because then like taking responsibility would allow either, I know we're like, Velma and Shaggy seem to be the easy ones to it's Fred and Daphne that I'm trying to find something to do, but it's like one of them even being willing to sacrifice themselves, like not that like seemingly willing to sacrifice themselves to die, but obviously living in the end. But like that's the journey they take, is to reach the point of like, this is all bigger than just me. So a little selflessness versus selfishness, which probably is Daphne is the obvious choice for that. In the
elitist sorority girl archetype.
Yeah.
Probably.
And that kind of works towards Trin from Happy Death Day. Is that her name? The main character of Happy Death Day.
Sure, yeah.
It's like, hey, you can't just like, you got to be willing to be selfless sometimes. And then seeing the worst version of themselves in that final fight and basically ghostbustering Gozer at the end.
So I was trying to think what to do with Fred, and initially I was thinking, like do like a football jock kind of thing, but that it ends up being very similar to what we're saying to do with Daphne.
Yeah.
So instead, what if he's more of a... Velma is smart and probably naturally a valedictorian, but Fred is a go-getter. He must be in charge. He must be leader. He must make all the decisions and stuff like that. So his arc is like,
let go.
And so he does stuff like he's like, no, I will do this, and so he pushes forward, and so that's how he ends up breaking the machine. And his lesson is to learn to not be the glory hound.
Yeah.
And the ball hog.
Yeah.
And learns how to learns that the actual value of a leader is in being a part of a team. The really base hit version of introducing him as a character is on a sports field. Like, it should be, but I don't.
Scoring the touchdown, like running the ball in, kind of thing. and the coach being like, I told you to pass. Hey, what's the matter, coach? You won the game. Ha ha. Yeah, go Fred. That's the base hit version of introducing him.
I like the idea of introducing him instead as like he's like a
street racer who steals DVD players.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's another idea?
A president, like he's part of a student government.
And future politician. I'm going to be president one day.
Yeah, he's that type.
Great, I like that. That's better than jock. I think he can still be jock.
And one of the variations can be a jock.
Yeah. But I think that's a cool way to go. That he's very, very much like take all the credit, push the, because in the end, if it's like, and I think we see a little bit of it in the Freddie Prinze version where it's like, no, you guys handle this.
He's a fame
hound
hound stepping out in front to get all the pictures.
Yeah, and then being able to step back and go, no, this was solved because of these ones. And I think that's a fair returning to that as well. I think that's a interesting, like to have that finale moment of being like, I'm not the one who should or can do this. You do it. Like Shaggy, you're the one who should go, or like take Scooby and go. Like that's his arc is to get to there. Yeah. And ultimately the five of them working together to destroy the Stay Puft Marshmallow Dog, to close that final rift and defeat the dark versions of themselves, and then save the school.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, I had mentioned earlier that one of the buildings has like Shaggy's family name on it. That's the building that gets destroyed in the end. It's like,
sure.
Yeah, it's all right, man. They'll just build another one. Okay.
The only arc we didn't do is Scooby.
Is Scooby himself, the title character?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if we'd call this Scooby Doo. I'd probably call it Mystery Inc.
That'd probably be a good way to differentiate itself, especially because and if we're doing an origin story. Did Air Bud have an arc?
He learned how to play basketball, dude. Wow. Insulting.
Did he? Didn't he just
it's
know?
It's the Rocky of sports animal movies.
I thought he knew how to play basketball.
But he knew how to really play as a team.
Because the arc would be, oh man, we need a person to play. If only that dog could play. And then the dog's like, oh, I'll learn.
Scooby, what's an arc we can give this dog of like...
He overcomes a speech impediment?
Shaggy. We've done it. Uh-oh, Shaggy.
What if there's a switcheroo and that's how they figure out that...
Wait a minute, you're not our Scoob. What are you talking about? Yeah, guys, what are you talking about?
I mean, Rut-row. Rut-rill-reed-roo.
I've seen this one before, guys.
I mean, you sound normal now, but something's not right.
Something's not right here. Zoinks. Jinkies. I mean, do we need a full arc for the dog here? Like, it was a dog in the lab that got multiversal, like quantum energy that allowed it to talk.
Yeah.
Are we doing full lip move here? Or are we doing mental?
Oh, I don't know.
I guess we don't need to decide that.
It would depend on
how good is this CG.
Look. I mean, that is something in that 2000s version. Like, it really took the CG that was capable at the time. Because we've talked about this, how like of the time, actually of a decade earlier, Jurassic Park's CG still looks really, really good. Like it's now getting to the point where you can kind of like, oh, I see it. Yeah. Whereas Scooby-Doo, it wore it, but it wore it like as a part of the character of it.
And they cartoonified. Thank you. The rest of the movie, so the CG didn't feel out of place. So yeah, if our Scooby here like is just loyal to a fault, like that's like I don't think we need to take the character of Scooby-Doo and have him grow per se, but maybe the final sacrifice of tackling the hellhound that is the dark version of, what'd you call it, an elder god,
Eldritch Being
that Scooby literally like saves those, like he's the one who makes the final sacrifice to close the rift. Well,
and what we can do to save on the Uncanny Valley is maybe Scoob can't talk immediately after the event. It's not like, oh, and hey, now I'm talking. Like, what if he's like learning to talk as the movie's going?
We could another way to approach it would be that like let him just be able to talk, but it cracked open some like quantum reality version of like, listen, I come from a different. This is what I want to say to you. I'm from a different reality. I'm now inside this dog's body, and now I'm going to say it. I think that dog's trying to tell us something.
I don't want to put another being in Scoob.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I don't think.
Essentially, I think the scene where like he does start talking, I would want to do something where like it's a combination of like, is it the realities like we've seen bears wearing pork pie hats, and things like that. Like we've started seeing some weird stuff, and now the dog is talking. I would want it to be like a silly combination of, and now the dog is talking, but also Shaggy has been smoking this entire room up. So are we all
high right now, or did that dog just talk to us?
Yeah. Why not both, man?
I like that. That I think Scooby's dialogue should be limited anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That giving him too much of the wackiness of Scooby-Doo would form this movie into a way that I think that I want to like pull back from. And so having him have limited like a limited amount of dialogue throughout, but having that one scene where he has a full-on explanation moment, and having that like Fred say, like, are we this high, or is that dog talking? Why not both? Like that's funny. But giving him the final Hail Mary, knocking the Eldridge Beast back, and like like falling through the crack, and then all four of them reaching out and like
each grabbing a paw.
I was gonna say, yeah. I was thinking more of like a Daisy Chain situation where like Shaggy dies for him, and then he gets Scooby, but he's like, oh man, and then Velma grabs him, Daphne grabs him, and then they pull them back in,
like in Evolution.
Yes, sure, yes, like Evolution. Although tonally speaking, this movie will be like that, but pulling all of them back in so Scooby doesn't die, that they pull him back in reality. But and then the Mystery Inc. seals that final crack with a final no. And now they've blown up a building, but saved the world for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there are instances that have spread across at least America and in Canada that they now are like, well, there are other instances happening right now that we should probably take care of, because it's either remnants of this mistake or they're still trying to break through. Whatever it is, it's up to us to stop them.
Sure, yeah.
And hop in the van and let's get going. Cool. We did it. Boy. That was rough start. I was really worried that we weren't going to come up with any. I was like, oh no, Jim, is this going to be a situation where we like thought we had a gimme? But no, I think we found something fun here that really it would come down to like writing it where that would really determine how silly we go or how dark we go. But
and I also think by having multiple iterations, not only can we do silly fun versions, but like we can even touch on each of the types. Like one of them, we could even do a whole like a reveal where they pull the mask off something. So we get it's Old Man Jenkins, and then we do another one where it's and like gradually go up to like the full terrible supernatural monster.
Yeah, we're going up against Cthulhu.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's pronounced Scoob-Thulu.
Scoob-Thulu. Cthulhu.
Scoob-Thulu.
Scathuba-thuba-doo?
Thuba-thuba-doo.
I bit my tongue at Thor now. Scooby. Tooby? Gooby. Dooby-doo. Oh. We're not working Scrappy-Doo or Flim Flam.
I was about to try to do it at the end.
No. Honestly, that's the best twist from that original movie.
It really was.
Scooby or that Scrappy.
I was going to suggest turning Eldritch Doo. They shrink him down into just Scrappy.
Into a little pup. No. Yeah. I think that this thing is sealed with him.
Yeah.
Like they don't vaporize him. Maybe they spread him across the quantum universe.
That's actually a really unwise thing to do with an Eldritch being.
Just send him everywhere.
Yeah.
Break him into tiny little pieces. It'll take him an eternity to form back together.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, but in a multiverse, an eternity can happen real fast.
Shh, don't look. I'm not the brains of this operation. That's Velma's department. Actually, it would be very unwise for us to spread them across the galaxy.
Yeah.
It would be better for us to contain them into a singular location, like that.
Yeah, like that.
Wow. Okay. So Mystery Inc. Do we? As we're like, we're getting near the wrap up here, but
It does. Sorry, I was wondering if our characters could map to the Ghostbusters in any way, and they can slightly.
Yeah.
Velma is Egon.
Mm-hmm.
Fred is Venkman.
Mm-hmm.
Ray is Shaggy. And
Ernie Hudson.
Zedmore.
Winston.
Thank you.
Is Daphne.
I remembered his last name.
Is Daphne. Yeah, and Scooby is Slimer from the cartoon.
Also the movie.
Yeah. Well, Slimer became like a mascot for and honestly, the Ghostbusters Afterlife vibe would be what I'd like this
Sure.
Go little more
like a combination of the almost cartoony over the topness of Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
With
like the earnestness and.
You think those two could be married?
Yeah, I think so, because like a Happy Death Day is already playing in a almost cartoonish world anyway.
Sure, but then
it's particularly Happy Death Day 2, which deals with
connecting it with the sincerity of Ghostbusters Aftermath.
A little bit, maybe not the full on schmaltz that I actually like from Ghostbusters Afterlife, but that putting it into that a little bit more serious realm, like having them deal with their issues, being literally faced with the worst versions of themselves. Depending on how that is written, it's either very textual or subtextual. It really just comes down to like how it's scripted. I think tonally speaking, we would be apt to litter this thing with wisecracks.
That's true.
And it would make for a more adventurous, funny movie. And I'm okay with that, because really what we're asking the audience anyway is come check out this new version of Scooby-Doo. Trust us. And it would benefit us to go more towards some of those things we're referencing, as opposed to, I mean, the fear of, it was either Nancy or Sammy. I apologize which one. One of them was afraid that it would be like Riverdale. Sammy's fear was that it would just be like Riverdale, and this avoids that. Riverdale gets bonkers. Seriously, if we wanted to do our Wowkipedia show, I would just read you the Wikipedia of the entirety of the Riverdale series and let your jaw drop. We don't want to go there. I think that if this is comparable to Jumanji, we'd be in a safe place. I think that would be much more appealing and fun. But yeah, so there we go. I'm happy wrapping up here. I think we got some. So. We've laid down once we found that skeleton, like. And but Sammy, Nancy, how did we do? Listeners, how did we do? Let us know. You can reach out to us and let us know if we met the demands, or did we miss anything? Are there any Scooby-Doo fans out there that are like, guys, you missed a big one here? Like,
we didn't put in Vincent Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, you're right. We evoked his name
and people have been clamoring for Flim Flam.
I know.
And we just made a joke of him.
Oh God. We obviously have no respect for the source material. Jeez. What do we work for Disney over here? Oh. You can message us directly at StudioDemandsIt.com on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Studio Demands It. If you're not already, you can subscribe to us and your podcast listener of your choice. And if you feel like giving us a review, you can do that in-app, and it really helps get the show into the algorithm and out to more listening ears. So you can also find us on YouTube and TikTok, where we are posting video content this year, including materials not heard here on the show. Jim is stroking his beard. I am aware that as I do this wrap-up, Jim takes this time to just think over the episode. That's fine. So you can hit me up at TC's Big Head on Twitter. You can also find Jim that way, because he still has not figured out his Twitter situation.
I'm telling you, they locked me out. They busted me. It's all busted because way back when I tried making the account, and it was like I couldn't think of a name. They're like, "What about the suggested name?" And I didn't want to commit to it at the time, so I just closed the browser. And ever since then, it's been busted. And it is
Yeah.
I have the at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it away. First season is like, go look for Tubak Wax
Tubak
On.
Wax On, yeah.
It's at 5 Wax On.
Yeah.
At 5 WAXON.
No, don't spell it.
No, it's too late. There it is. It's out there. It doesn't work. It does not work.
I think Jim is creating an ongoing narrative of his Twitter woes to mess with all of us.
Maybe. Because right now, because Elon said like they're going to eliminate like a whole bunch of inactive accounts.
You'll be
Maybe
erased.
mine will get erased and
from existence.
And I can start over.
Until then, you can get to Jim through me, or you can at Studio Demands it on Twitter and the website as well. But as I said earlier, we do have a Patreon now for a couple bucks a month. You can get episodes early. You can get extended double-length episodes and movie commentary tracks. Massive thank you to 6.5 Media for everything they do for us. Please check out the other 6.5 shows. I've guested on another Zelda podcast. Jim and I are going to be guesting on Turn by Turn soon. But for now, that does it for this episode. Jim, any final thoughts now that you've stroked your beard for a couple minutes?
I had some and now I lost them because I talked about Twitter.
Oh no!
The thought is I really want to just forefront and be straightforward about them smoking marijuana, especially because it's legal in so many places now.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I believe that's actually what gives it an R rating.
That they would just be smoking, doing bong rips.
And I don't know if the IP would allow it.
Huh. Like they always allude to it in the more modern stuff. You see smoke coming out the top of the mystery machine, and he's making sausage links.
Yeah.
But
and Scooby Snacks were always sort of an allusion to it.
Yeah.
And in fact, that became a term for drugs.
What?
That's what the song from the 90s.
Oh, whoa.
Running around robbing banks all whacked up on, or all whacked, was it whacked up? All on Scooby Snacks, yeah.
All right, that does it for this episode, folks.
Fun Loving Criminals, if you want to know the name of that band.
We will be back again soon with another one of your demands to challenge to improve the world of cinema. I am TC.
I am Jim.
And that's the show, folks.